Community, and today I'm with Ashley. Ashley is an absolute gem. I am obsessed with you. Everything you do is absolutely gorgeous and so intentional. Ashley, tell us a little bit about you and kind of like walk us through your journey.
Oh my gosh, where to even start? I have been a licensed esthetician for 20 years in June. This June will be 20 years. I feel like it's just been lifetimes of being in this industry at this point. Um, I started out my first job ever in the beauty industry was at a tanning salon when I was 15. And then I became a licensed esthetician after I went to an esthetician who cleared my acne within 3 months after years and years of cystic acne. Um, I kind of have the same struggles a lot of us have that go into skincare with my own skin. So that's what led me into this career. And then my first job as an esthetician was at a med spa, and I was there for 4 years. I put myself through college at that med spa. This was when laser hair removal was like brand new. And I was doing a lot of laser hair removal. I was doing a lot of chemical peels. I worked with a staff of like four dermatologists, and there were a couple plastic surgeons on staff. So I really learned a lot in that environment. And I always kind of go back to that beginning, like that's the beginning origin story because I learned so much working for someone else. And that's a big part of like what I teach now as a mentor and as someone in the industry who's teaching more than anything else. I think it's just so important to keep learning and keep putting yourself in environments. And if you're brand new, maybe think about not, I don't know, I could go on a tangent, but that's where it all started. And then I opened my own business, my first business at 25 in San Francisco. It was awful. I was treading water. I was so broke. I did that for 2 years before I closed and moved to LA. And then when I moved to LA, I worked for other people. I worked for someone who was a mentor of mine. And I worked at a couple different med spas in West Hollywood and Studio City. That's when I really started developing what I like to call the golden clientele, which is like the clients I still have today. And that was in 2018. And so I still have all of those clients from 2018. All of them still see me every single month. A lot of them have been with me since like the first place in LA and have just followed me since. And I actually live in Phoenix, Arizona, and I go back for a week every month to LA to see those clients. But my main passion and focus right now is mentorship and virtual mentorship primarily, but also hands-on training and workshops, small group, intimate, hands-on facial training for licensed estheticians. So I teach you my facial, and then I also have a slow flow and sculpt advanced lymphatic drainage facial massage method that I teach as well.
That is so beautiful. Everything is so inspiring. You are such an inspiration for sure. I really want, one of the reasons why I was so excited and I had reached out to you is I obviously follow you on Instagram and I see the golden touch and your slow and flow. And I think one thing that you very, very much perfected is the client experience.
Yes.
Um, I mean, to the T, you have a science behind it. And I think that a lot of, okay, so I'm obviously right now really passionate about content creation and how to be able to book people to trust you through Instagram. But that's only one layer to it, right? Like, okay, now we got your Instagram profile down. Now you get the client in the door. Once you get them, something that I'm really passionate about is the first time client experience because this is where you're going to like make or break. And I think that having a first time client experience is a science. And I think you are really, really great at that science. So, one thing that I heard is you started in San Francisco, it was really bad. And then you came out here to West Hollywood, Studio City. What from San Francisco to West Hollywood changed? Like, what was that thing that clicked? And you were like, I'm so bad. And now I'm
Oh
so good.
gosh. Honestly, I always talk about this. It's community. There was like no community in San Francisco for me, or I guess I wasn't actively looking for it because I just wasn't in that phase of my life. I was 25, so maybe I was still a little shy. You have to know too, I grew up really shy, really poor. I come from like nothing, and throughout my teenage years, I had the acne, I had eating disorders. So I think I was still in a kind of incubation period when I think about my life in San Francisco, where I wasn't like actively seeking out continued education. And I think when I moved to LA, I guess it activated something in me. Like I knew that I was going to have to level up and I knew I was going to have to get out of my shell in order to stand out in an environment like LA where like everyone's an esthetician and like the clients that are coming to see you, like they really, they are investing heavily into it. Like in San Francisco, it's just a different if anyone here is in the Bay Area, you guys know it's a very different world up there. Like people are a lot more work focused, a lot more career driven. And then you go to somewhere like LA where everyone is very like face forward, getting a facial is part of their job. So I think I just knew that I was going to have to level up in terms of getting out of my comfort zone, getting continued education, going to events. I was going to like influencer events. I worked for someone who, serviced the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I got exposure to a lot of that stuff. I worked on Victoria's Secret models, like all kinds of just, it was not, I never like to call myself a celebrity esthetician, but I was exposed to a lot of it pretty early. And so I think that helped me get out of my shell and understand the idea of proximity is power, and you really do have to kind of keep putting yourself in these like rooms and out of your comfort zone.
So you said for sure, especially the area that you're servicing, West Hollywood, like
Yeah.
Beverly Hills, it's right there. So, but what was it? What did you change in the client experience? So basically, what I'm trying to help is the solo esthetician who she's like, my retention sucks.
Yeah.
I think I speak to so many estheticians and like I'm like you if you're not like retaining your clientele, something is happening. There's a disconnect somewhere. So
Yeah.
what kind of change can we immediately do? Like
You
how do we self-aware? How do we analyze ourselves if we're good or not?
Yeah, I think it's turning your every single service into an experience, like we were talking about. I think, when I moved to West Hollywood, I created my signature service called the Ageless Facial. It's what I teach now. And it's basically like a luxury hydrofacial. It includes all the best bells and whistles. And I think part of it was I knew that I had to everyone in town, like there were like three other people on my block where I was working that were offering hydrofacials and selling Skin Better, and like everyone had everything. And so how do you stand apart in that kind of environment? Well, you have to create an experience. And so insert the Ageless Facial. It's a signature experience. It's 2 hours long. I mean, it's quite lengthy. But a lot of the Ageless Facial is being physically present. And I think a lot of estheticians underestimate like how much energy transfer is happening through touch and pacing and eye contact and nervous system regulations. Clients can really feel when you're rushed and when you're distracted, over talking and being mentally somewhere else. Even something as simple as like slowing down your transitions in a facial can really make a huge difference. Keeping full hand contact during massage, or taking those like three big intentional breaths, like with your client before you even start the facial. And before you even enter the room, like you doing that for yourself, having 15 minutes between every client is so important. There's so many people who don't do this still. It feels like common sense to me, but like I feel like when I started implementing these things and really started taking them seriously, like I saw the improvement immediately in retention,
Yeah.
immediately in, everything that I like. Everyone wanted to rebook, and you almost have to have the authoritative. I mean, we'll go into this more, but it's like being the authority in the room. Like you have to be that for them. Like you have to be that masculine dynamic in the energy in the room. And clients feel that. And people remember how safe they felt with you, like far longer than like a hydrofacial or, any kind of device that you're using. So I think people really underestimate the energy.
100%. You said so many things. Okay. If an esthetician is lacking confidence, because you said the authority, right?
Yeah,
I remember you basically have to control the room. So you look them in the eye and you say, "Go ahead and take a seat." And they're going to take that seat. There's no guessing on what's going to happen. You control the room. But an
right.
esthetician who doesn't have the confidence, what can she immediately do to how did you build that confidence?
I think it's practice. I think putting yourself in like maybe faux situations, having friends or family that can come in and be like a faux client. I think that's a really good way to do it, and
I love that.
truly treating them as like they are a paying client and having these interactions, these dynamics come through with them. That way they can feel that little. It's uncomfortable. I will say, like this is a learning curve. Like it's not easy at first. You're going to feel a lump in your throat. Your throat chakra might be a little bit blocked if you're feeling that way. I definitely know how that feels. It will feel uncomfortable. I think a big part of this is depersonalizing the rejection as well. Like, I think we as like female entrepreneurs, and this is our business. A lot of times you have a lot of small business owners that are watching this, listening to this right now, and we have to kind of take ourselves out of the equation. If the person says no to the product, to the service, to the treatment plan, like that is not our problem, and it's not because of anything that we've done or haven't done. It's because they don't want a solution yet. And so you have to think of your services and your products like those are solutions to the problems that your clients are coming to you for. And if you're not going to provide those solutions, then what are we doing here?
Right. I think something that was really important because we're talking about the entire client experience, and the client experience basically starts with you, making sure
Yes.
that you're regulated, you're ready. I also think that being ready, being prepared, confident. So I made a post in the group and people totally came for it. I was like, you cannot show up 15 minutes early and think you're going to have a successful day.
No.
Absolutely not. And I really stand by it. I was like, I made this other post that was like, Kobe Bryant would show up he was Kobe Bryant and he still
Yeah.
showed up early to the game. So with the client experience, you're saying put giving yourself 15 minutes, making sure that you're regulated and taking that into the treatment room with the client. Is there something very specific that you do? Like, how do you prep for your day for the
Yeah, I
client
mean,
experience?
to be honest, I show up like an hour and a half before my day starts, and I see 3 to 4 clients a day. Five is like max, like I'll do five sometimes if I have to, but really paying attention to like the amount of clients you're seeing in the day, the gaps. Like I put 30 minutes between my clients so that because usually I'm running 15 minutes over talking to them about products, talking to them about the next treatment afterward. You want to slowly ease them out of the room. I think this is something that people really get wrong. A lot of providers get this wrong, is they're kind of rushing people out the door. And even if they're not intentionally doing it, the client can feel that like rushing through the checkout process, right? Because you're in your mind mentally, you're thinking about your next client. Like you want to kind of eliminate all of that because I always say golden clients can feel rushed energy and it's like a repellent. So I get to my treatment room an hour, sometimes 90 minutes before I start. I'm doing the towels, I'm putting the music on, like I'm putting all the stuff on. I'm getting the room ready. I'm Palo Santoing the room. You don't have to Palo Santo. You can use some kind of, Florida water is great. Something that feels good to you and feels aligned for your treatment room. And, a lot of people are kind of getting away from smoke. So, I mean, totally understand whatever you need to do. But I think having a signature scent is really important. Putting your table heater on, all of these things matter so, so much. Making sure the lighting is like dimmed a little bit. If you have a really bright studio, maybe don't have like overhead lights on, like the room is already lit from the natural lighting. Like all of these things you have to kind of take into consideration. I don't know about you, Maria, but have you ever walked into a studio that was like heavily lit and the music was like way too loud and there was no scent and it just felt like a little bit cold and sterile? It's a very different experience from what I just described.
Oh, 100%. I won't even book. I won't even book with
Yeah,
that person. Because I'm like, no, I don't like, I'm coming for relaxing and result driven, which is basically like what I do.
yeah.
What do you think, like, what's something that's completely overlooked? And you're like, I wish more estheticians would do this to create a better experience for their clients.
Something that comes to mind is like really making clients feel cared for and seen and remembering like the little details of their life. You sent over a few questions to prep for this. I think the follow-up is really important. I think that's something that I'm always shocked when I get on a virtual call with a brand new esthetician and they're not sending a follow-up email that's very personalized. I mean, when I had a big team of providers, I would have them send personal follow-up emails, not an automated. And this is for a new client. So I think we need to get back to the personalization just a little bit because of how much AI there is right now. I love automation. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a really strong place for automation. But when it comes to providing a luxury service and a luxury experience for clients, they want to feel connected to you. And this goes back to what we were just talking about, having your face in the profile picture. It's the same thing. Like they want to feel like you know them after the first time. And I think that can increase your retention like 1,000%. If you just follow up personally with every single new client, you say, how was your son's soccer game? I always use that analogy. It's like, how was the meal that you were like the lasagna that you were telling
I
me
love
about,
that.
like having some kind of personal touch in the email so they know it's not an automated email. I think that can go a really long way.
That was actually one of my questions. How can estheticians make clients feel seen, cared for, and remembered in a way that stands out? And I feel like that would really increase your retention. Another one that I'm obsessed with is retail. So a question that I had wrote out was, what are some ways to naturally increase retail sales without sounding pushy or salesy? And I feel like everything we've talked about from the beginning to now kind of helps all of that. How would somebody who is struggling selling retail, what kind of advice would you give them to be able to get that better?
I love this question. I have a course I'm going to plug really quick called Rock Your Retail and Golden Experience Guide. It's my best-selling course. I love retail. I love selling retail and teaching estheticians how to sell retail. I will say that it's education over selling, always education over selling. Like estheticians are not salespeople, so we have to remember that. You are not a salesperson. So retail becomes really effortless when a client actually can see the benefits that and understand like the why behind why you're recommending something and what role it plays in the skin long term. So I always say like demonstration is really important. So making sure that they can feel the product before they go home with it. Having testers out is really important. You actually explaining to them how to use the product, when to use the product, and why they are using the product. That's really what sales comes down to. And we don't have to talk about cost. I mean, you're going to have clients that have a budget maybe, and maybe you have these dynamics with your clients already. I would highly encourage you to just become the educator for your clients and talk and mainly focus on what the product is doing, how they're going to be using it at home, and how often they're going to be using it. So that looks like starting the consultation process like from the beginning, like before the treatment even starts, but then doing like a deep dive during the extraction portion of your facial. And then by the end of the treatment, you're handing them products, you're putting the products in their hand physically, you're telling them how often to use it, how many pumps of this, what it's going to feel like on the skin, and that's it. That's the sale. I mean, I think people really overcomplicate this process, and it's explaining the texture, it's explaining the the layering of it, how it's going to feel like, how it's not going to pill up, like maybe comparing it to a drugstore product or something that they've told you that they're using, like making sure that you understand what that comparison is going to be like for them and explaining thoroughly how that's going to feel for them. And honestly, like your own belief in the products really matters as well. Clients can feel when you genuinely love something and versus when you're just trying to like hit numbers. So make sure that you have actually used the products. Like I'm very surprised all the time by how many estheticians are selling things that like they've never put on their skin. So you have to actually go through that testing phase of using the products and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I love that answer. Another one that I had wrote was, what's the difference between a client who comes once versus a client who becomes a loyal client for years?
I think this is where you are focusing on your experience so much that it really becomes a part of their like wellness routine, and not just like
Yeah.
an appointment on the book. You develop that client relationship for so long that, or you invest so heavily into the little details, like the personal details, that they really have no like my mentor recently told me, he asked me, he was like, what is loyalty? And I was like, I don't know what is loyalty. And he's like, you have to be the best option. So you have to just remain the best option for your ideal golden client. And it takes work, investing into yourself all the time. You have to be able to explain new treatments that are coming out, new lasers that are coming out, new resurfacing treatments that are coming out. And even if you're not providing those services, having a really strong referral system, I think really helps too. Because once you get them into your referral ecosystem, then every time they go to Susan, your acupuncturist, they're going to think about you and they're going to say, oh, I need to book the facial with Ashley, next week. Or like getting them into that, like, I always just say like live ecosystem because that's what it really is. And once you have these referral systems in place, like I think that's really where the loyalty comes in, and also just bringing it, like tying it back to the experience. I think putting just a lot of emphasis into your dynamic and making sure that you show up as the masculine in the dynamic. You're not oversharing, you're not overindulging in your own life, like during your
Yes.
appointments. I just posted a reel on this morning.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where we miss the mark sometimes. Like it becomes a therapy session, and I think a lot of providers get comfortable oversharing, and that's not what your client is there for.
No, they're not. And it drives me insane when I go somewhere and I'm like, okay, this is not your therapy time,
Yeah.
respectfully. Another thing, one of the things that I think you're great at is the tiny detail. Can you talk a little bit more about the tiny details?
Yeah, I think the little details really matter. Like I said, it all starts from the moment, you start communicating with your client, whether that's via Instagram, via, text or email, like however they found you, making sure that you make everything feel really personalized. And then when they come into your space, making sure that you are on time. I think this is huge, very overlooked again. Like you are starting every service on time, you're not rebooking, you're not moving people around playing Tetris with your schedule. And then I also think like just the little details like we talked about in the beginning, like the table warmer is so important. If you have a tiny space, that was one of your questions. It's like a lot of people are in suites. Like something that I did when I was in a suite is I had like a little to go, like a carrying cart for the restroom. So like if they needed to use the restroom, I would give them a little cart and it had things like feminine hygiene products and it had like hair ties and breath mints in it and just like all these little things that they can use in the restroom if the restrooms like doesn't have those things.
For sure. I do want to open up to any questions. Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys feel like when I say experience, do you really understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, I would love some questions. I also think when someone feels like emotionally safe with you, they remember that forever. Like something that I'm always doing is like charting the little details. And this is something that I think I kind of was lost on me in the beginning, like when I was working at that first med spa, is like we're charting all the things about the skin, right? But once I started charting like the son's soccer game or
For
the
sure.
lasagna, like something that was like personal, and then you bring it up to them the next time that they come in, like that hits a little bit different. Like if you can remember like a tiny detail and bring it up in their next appointment, you just created so much trust with that person.
For sure. Another one that I had made is how do you create a luxury experience if someone is in a small suite or a limited budget?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, the one little thing like the bathroom cart is huge. Like that could be like really big. Also, good lighting, clean linens, like fresh scents when they walk in. I think in smaller spaces these things are even more important because sometimes a small space can feel a little bit claustrophobic if not all of these points are touched on. So,
For sure.
a signature scent, remembering how someone like takes their tea if you have tea, like having like a little like portable like teapot that you can like make a hot tea afterward, having sparkling water available after their appointment is so huge. Like make it feel like they are in a luxury space. Like I started in a tiny, tiny suite in LA when I opened up my business in LA, and I had all of these like little amenities. And I think that made a big difference. And you think, oh, like maybe it's a little cheesy or like overdone or like it maybe doesn't make a huge difference. It does. Like if you have like a nice sparkling water that you're giving to them as they're leaving, if you're asking them, do you want a hot drink before they leave? All of those things really matter. And clients want to feel considered. Like that's really the luxury experience is considering every element of the treatment, even putting like a warm towel underneath their neck right before the service ends, essential oils on the towels, making sure like it just smells immaculate. It's like spotless, hiring a cleaner to come in and deep clean your suite like once a month at least, just to get like the baseboards and like all those little things that like you should not be investing your time into because you have better things to do. Like get more clients in the door and focus on your marketing, right? I think all of these things matter in a tiny, tiny space.
100%. What's one thing every esthetician listening today could implement immediately to improve retention and increase revenue?
Hold on, I wrote myself some notes here. I think slowing down every single step in the service of the facial. Put more time in between your clients so that you show up more regulated for every single client. I genuinely believe that many estheticians are operating from urgency instead of intention. So it's the things that clients can feel. It's the energy. Slow down your consultation, slow down your touch, slow down how you educate them, slow down enough to actually observe your client. And when people feel deeply cared for, they rebook and they trust your recommendations more. They refer their friends, they stay for years and years and years. The nervous system is part of the treatment, whether you acknowledge it or not. So you're either leaving them like upregulated or you're leaving them downregulated, which is the goal. So make sure that they're always downregulated by the time they're leaving, and it's a slow experience for them to get up. And then when you're at the checkout point, I feel like this is huge. This is something everyone can implement right now today, is instead of asking them and leaving it up to them to rebook or asking them, when would you like to rebook? Or do you want to rebook? It's okay, I would like to see you again in 4 weeks. I have Tuesday at 11 a.m., or I could do an evening that week, Thursday at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., whatever. Like give them two or three different options, one in the morning, one in the evening, 4 to 6 weeks after that treatment. And then you end that by saying just to keep your results on track. So you're tying the results to it, you're inviting them in, you're not making it an option for them to rebook. And 99.9% of the time, they will choose one of those options and you just rebooked a client. And if you use that formula every single time, I promise you every single client will rebook every time.
I love everything you touched on. So, from the very beginning, we talked about getting there early to prepare for the day, regulating your nervous system, having a signature set, thinking about the small little touches. And I like how you had said you're basically the masculine. So, from the beginning to the very end, you are being assertive and you're basically controlling the room from the moment they walk in to the moment they leave.
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
a luxury experience, my friends.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear the words masculine, feminine, sometimes that can sound a little bit intimidating, or maybe you don't buy into that like dynamic thing. A lot of people are, they want to be partners with their clients. I see that a lot, and it's a partnership. And yes, it's a partnership, but you are the professional. Like, I'll leave you with that. It's like, remember that they are hiring you for a reason. You are the professional, and if you don't provide the solutions, you're doing a disservice to them and you have left your job undone, period.
Period. Thank you so much. I do want to know, is there any more questions, guys?
Yeah, do we have questions? Let's see.
You guys are also welcome to put it in the chat or turn on your mic.
Kat said, would love a face group
Masterclass.
masterclass.
I could totally do that. I think I know something about a Facebook groups.
I would like to share with you guys, anyone listening right now, I'm going to put my phone number in the chat, and feel free to share my phone number, Maria, if you want. If you guys text me and you want like a 15-minute complimentary like discovery call with me, I am super open to that. I want to make sure that I'm giving the most to you. So if you don't feel comfortable asking a question right now about client experience, like maybe we can jump on a call and we can talk about your client experience and maybe how we can work together. I'm going to put my phone number in the chat for you guys. Feel free to text me, call me. I'm a big fan of just really close interactions like that. So, yeah, and I offer a virtual mentorship. So I offer a single session. I also offer a 3-month membership where I can help you scale, grow team. I can help you with the systems, operations of growing team, creating a great signature client experience, helping with your dynamics with clients. And then I do offer the hands-on workshops if you go to agelessashley.com.
How do you make selling retail sound natural?
Um, I think it starts from, like I said, not a place of selling. So you're starting the conversation in the consultation, right? You move into the extraction portion of the facial. Hopefully, you have a portion like that in your facial. Maybe it's not extractions, maybe it's microneedling, right? You're able to really chat with the client and ask them about their skin. You get really curious about what they're already doing, and you ask so many questions that it prompts them to eventually ask you a question, and then it turns into less of a like a sales conversation and more of just they're asking for your opinion. So you're really waiting for the invitation for your advice, is how I've always looked at it. And once you get so curious, like just like some people will not ask you until you've asked them like 10 questions, but I promise you, if you just keep deep diving, how are you using this cleanser? They might not know the brand of it, but how does that cleanser feel? Is it a gel cleanser? Does it get foamy? Are you rinsing it off with water? Are you using any kind of sponge to wipe it away? Are you using a towel to wipe it away? Or what are you sleeping on? Just get so curious in the like consultation phase that they have no choice but to ask for your advice. And that's how you make it natural.
I love that. And then they say, "What's your Instagram handle?" Which you put the website,
Yes.
Ageless Ashley. Such a cute name.
Thank you. I've had it so my first job at that med spa, it was the ageless zone. So I've had Ageless Ashley since then.
That's funny. Well, thank you for your time, you guys. I really, really hope you guys start implementing it, slow it down. Get to the treatment room early and regulate your nervous system, ask questions. The magic is in the small details. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Maria. Thanks for opening up your beautiful community to me. I love being part of the Facebook group, and I think it's so valuable what you're doing and what you're putting out into our industry, and it's needed. And I love that you're promoting money making and that you're opening up the conversation of money, which has been a taboo topic for women for so long that like to have a safe container to talk about money and to talk about income relate like very specifically related to our industry is really special, and you found a great niche for yourself. So I'm
I'm like,
happy to be a
I love money. I love making money. I love spending money. I love helping people make money. I love money. Ashley, I think you need to do an ageless Ashley tour. I
I would
agree.
love to. Yeah. I would love to do that.
You can use my suite or my, what do I have? Whatever I have.
What is your space a standalone or what is your space?
Yeah, I have like a little storefront.
That's so nice. It's so brightly lit every time I see it.
Oh my God, it's such a cute space. I got so lucky. I literally live not even a mile from it. And then my daughter's school is right across the street. So it's so
Oh,
easy for me.
what a dream for you. That's amazing.
I could walk there. I don't, but I could.
Yeah. Well, you live in LA. We drive everywhere.
Yeah. I hope you guys make a lot of money. I want everybody to make so much money.
Me too.
It's like, and it's there. You guys, it's there. Just the money is there.
It's there. It totally is. And I really believe in manifestation. And I think that something else I talk about a lot in some of my online courses too is karmic revenue. I really believe that the more that we put into the work that we're doing and the more, I don't want to say like gift giving, but the little things really do add up. Now that I go back and I see my clients for a week out of a month, every month, I make it a really special experience. Like every single time they come to see me, they get a goodie bag. It has like a full-size product in it. And I do that because they are going out of their way to make time that they can schedule with me when I'm there. So I understand that it's like hard for them to schedule with me because I only have very limited availability. So what do? I'm giving back into their experience by giving them something. And they always look forward to the goodie bag. Like I think if you can start to look at your client experiences like that, as in like with a karmic revenue sort of attitude, and like you're really putting everything into it, you're always going to get it back, and you're going to get back financially, you're going to get it back energetically, but your practice will really become something so beautiful over the years and meaningful, and like you'll feel that sense of fulfillment that maybe you're not feeling right now.
How much do you charge?
I charge for my ageless facial, which is the signature 2 hour facial, is 425. And then I also have another offering, which is that facial plus a DMK treatment included and an infrared sauna session included, and that's 555 for that facial.
Yeah, we love money, guys.
Yeah. And you can charge that. I mean, I will say, okay, so what's included in my 425? There's hydrofacial, there's dermaplaning, there's a superficial chemical peel, there's a 25-minute slow flow and sculpt massage. So I'm really giving them a lot of value for the 425. Like they will not go anywhere else and have the same experience. I'm confident in that.
For sure. I'm like, next time you come, I'm booking.
Yeah, I would love to treat you. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love it. Well, I
Yeah.
think Maria, you and I should do something live together. I would love to do some kind of live class together, or I'm really big into live events right now. So, any way we can collaborate and do like a class together or something, I would love it.
Yeah, I would love, we could use the studio for sure. I think one of my big passions right now, because I've really learned it, is Instagram for the solo provider. I think I very, very much have mastered it. Like I can't even, it just clicked so differently now. But then you have to take it into like the physical, right? Like so then
Yes.
it's like what is that physical experience like that I think is really important.
It is. I think that's what I've learned the most is, I built this like virtual education platform and I did that for a couple years and then I realized like people were buying the courses and they were never logging in again. And so what did that teach me? Like I was like, okay, I need to really shift to hands-on because that's where I'm going to make the most impact is doing these small group hands-on, the Golden Touch workshop. So if anyone needs hands-on training, needs to learn how to do a great facial, wants to have a signature facial, I would highly recommend applying for the Golden Touch workshop. It is application only, invite only right now. It's a 2-day workshop, and I teach you my signature treatment, and I teach it to you in a way that you can implement it into the back bar that you're already using. We go over how to create your own signature protocol within that 2-day masterclass. And it's hands-on, it's live, it's in Phoenix, and I usually do it twice a year.
I have a question. What made you want to do application only?
I was opening it to everyone at first. I had a few women who came in, and I felt like they had just become licensed, and they didn't quite have enough tactile, hands-on skills yet to take it to the next level. And what I mean by that is like cleansing even like it's
I know what you're saying.
like they just didn't feel comfortable touching faces and I felt like they weren't able to get the most out of it and so I really am kind of focused on the person who at least has a year of hands-on experience touching faces because I feel like that's where I can make the most impact as someone like that
I
so
know.
and I think having a small group, it's important for the energy to be aligned as well. I usually take 4 to 6 people, and so I try to make, and I do human design as well. Like I'll read their charts. So part of the application is inputting your birthday, and so I'm looking at your human design. I'm really pairing people up in these groups to really maximize their learning experience based on like all these different factors.
That's so cool. Ashley, will you ever travel to the East Coast for your workshop?
I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to. I mean, everything's in the works. My husband and I are talking about opening up a collective here in Phoenix. We're actively looking for a physical space here, and then we eventually want to have 5 locations. So East Coast is the fourth location that we want to have. So I mean, I foresee it for sure. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I'm open to doing pop-ups. If anyone has a space that I can use, I would love to come and do a pop-up, and maybe Maria and I can come together.
That'd be fun. All right, you guys. Okay,
All
so
right, you guys.
I did post my first because I'm doing a 7 series, and I just posted my first one about using Instagram. So go check it out, guys.
I'm so excited to see your series, Maria.
Yeah, I actually have a whole Google Doc and everything, guys. I'm like in.
All right, everyone, text me, email me, get in touch on Instagram, DM me. I'm always here for you guys. I loved this hour with you, Maria, and I'm excited to stay in touch and hopefully do something together soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, guys. Thank you
Okay,
so much for your time.
of course, you too. Bye.